See, click on add to stream. And here we're going. Hi, it's Dr. Wendy Walsh. I'm a psychology professor and I'm a little bit obsessed with the science of love. I love to share the research with you. So if you've got a question about relationships, I'll do my best to answer it. I want to remind everybody, I don't hold a license to practice psychotherapy. I'm a psychology professor and I'm a journalist and reporter, and I report on the science of love. So if you have a question, put it through. Am I in Boston? I was in Boston a couple of weeks ago for my daughter's graduation. That was great fun. StreamYard is coming on board. That includes YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, everybody else. Post a little comment and tell me where you're watching from. I have TikTok on my other camera. Question, is once a cheater, always a cheater true? No. The point is we're all human beings and we all have capacity to change across a lifespan. Now, I also believe that the best predictor of somebody's future behavior is their past behavior, because you can't predict their readiness to change, and you can't also dictate or control them or have them want to change. Their desire to change is going to happen for them at their own time. So I do not believe that once a cheater, always a cheater, but I also think that the best predictor of somebody's future behavior is their past behavior. And this comes from a long life of wisdom. Why do I find myself gravitating towards younger men? Older, I'm a 48-year-old, then older, I'm a 48-year-old woman. Well, evolutionary psychologists might say that all genders are sometimes attracted to younger, more fertile people because, in our ancient brains, we believe we're younger, we believe we're here to reproduce, and so we're thinking about reproductive lines. So there's no, the only thing I want to say about an age differential is that whoever is older has the power, whether it's financial power, whether it's intellectual power, wisdom, social capital power. The longer you've been on the planet, the more you grow power. So question, are you a benevolent leader? That's what I would ask myself. All right, if you have questions, let me open up the comments down here to see where you guys are watching for. Hello, Santa Barbara, nice to see you. Hi, Jeffrey, Lisa, Jonathan, Jamie. Question, this is a good question. I love this question. It's a good positive one. Jamie says, what can I do every day to show my appreciation to my girlfriend? So the research says that one of the things that long-term healthy couples often do is they continue to fertilize their relationship, if you will. They water the flowers. They give their partner compliments. They tell their partner why they love their partner. And when you do that, two things happen. One is you enliven the highest parts of them because they're being reminded about what a good person they are. And so as a result, they're going to act as good or better. But the other thing it does is it reminds you of why you're there. So my favorite advice, and I've read this over and over in research, is just give your partner a compliment at least 3 times a day. Catch them being good, even for the little things, because after a while, we're only nagging on them for the negative things, right? Okay. I love this. Jonathan asks a Canadian question. What's my favorite Canadian food? I know you think I'm going to say poutine, but it's probably not poutine. I do like poutine. Who doesn't like it? Cold, freezing ski resort day. That's the only time I would probably reward myself with carbs. I really like Canadian mussels from PEI. I love PEI mussels. And I love salmon from out west. And what other Canadian food? Those are my 2 favorites. Of course, PEI potatoes, but now I don't do carbs, so that's a problem. Okay, any other questions? Ask me anything. Reminder to everybody, I have a PhD in clinical psychology. I do not hold a license. I'm not a therapist. I'm a psychology professor, and I'm a journalist, and I report on the science of love. I'm the author of 3 books on relationships: The Boyfriend Test, the girlfriend test, and the 30-day love detox. You can find them all on Amazon or wherever. I also have a podcast called Mating Matters, and you find that behind the paywall on Patreon for just $8 a month. You can subscribe, where I've interviewed some of the most prominent evolutionary psychologists on the planet, and we talk about human mating strategies and the science of love on Mating Matters. So if you have a question, Jonathan wants to know, please send Instagram. Instagram is easy. Everything is at Dr. Wendy Walsh, at Dr. Wendy Walsh on all my social media. In fact, I should do an Instagram live, but then I need 2 cameras and then I'd have to say goodbye to TikTok. And I like TikTok because I have so many of you there. Are open marriages becoming more common? How often do they work? Interesting. I had a researcher on from the Kinsey Institute a few weeks ago on my iHeart radio show, and she is the preeminent scholar on open relationships. And she said that in America today, about 20% of committed couples try it, but less than 5% are able to sustain it. Now, Dr. David Buss at the University of Texas, Austin would say that's because we evolved to have so much sexual jealousy, right? It's an inherited important feeling that keeps our mates close, so they will be providing for offspring. So many people have trouble managing their sexual jealousy, and it's natural and it's normal and it's okay to be whoever you are. I don't necessarily think open relationships are for everybody, but the research says it's about 5%. Somebody says they like spaghetti with homemade sauce in Toronto. Okay, what other question? Bring on the questions. Let's see what we got up here. Tips on moving on from your ex that you broke up with because you got bored. Bored? Oh, I'm sorry. You know what my mother used to say to me when I was a kid? If you're bored, you're boring. So what did you not do to keep the novelty and excitement in your relationship? And I'm not just talking about sexual novelty. The research shows that long-term, satisfied, happy couples do interesting things together. They don't go to the same places all the time. They're trying new restaurants. They're going on different events. They're trying different sports. They're doing stuff, because when you take your partner and put them in another schema, they look fresh and exciting to you. But to answer your real question, how do you get over a breakup? The research shows you have to go no contact so that your brain can recover. On all social media, you got to block them, unfriend them, and you have to distract yourself with someone new, even if it's just close friends. I think that's really important. So somebody say good morning. So I wonder, where are you? If it's morning for you, because it's dinner time here, 6:00 p.m. Pacific time. What do you think of the new trend saying men don't move past first loves? I actually don't think any human of any gender ever completely erases that feeling of a first love. I still remember my very first love in high school. And it's because the explosion of hormones, especially if it's during adolescence, is so enormous that it really gets intertwined with our memories. So I don't think anybody truly forgets their first love. Question, can you save a broken marriage? Yes, you can. You should go to a licensed family therapist or a psychologist and work together. Relationships take work. Oh, asking for a friend. You're not married. Good to know. Should future partners feel insecure about that, though, that they'll never be as special? No, that's on you. No, seriously. I mean, okay, let's pause for a moment. When monogamy was invented, when that till death do us part thing was invented, death was pretty imminent. The truth is, most human beings will have multiple partners across the lifespan, and even the most monogamous ones can expect to have 2 or 3 long monogamous relationships because our life expectancies have been going way up. And in between those stints of monogamy, there's going to be some mate selection time where you might experiment with different kinds of partners. So you can't be backwards sexually jealous, okay? Deal with what's here in the present and that partner and who they're being and how they're being kind to you. That's the most important. Oh, here's a good question. What are some of the main things you just should discuss before marriage? You should, if you're planning on having children, of course, you need to talk about the values and parenting, how you're going to parent them, what kind of discipline you're going to use, whether you're going to raise them with a religion, what your moral teaching is going to be. You need to discuss the psychology of money, because everybody has a different psychology of money, and spenders and savers are often a really good balance for each other, but it can also be very difficult. You also want to talk about personal space. Like, for instance, neat freaks and hoarders do not do well together. So that's why people often try to audition a relationship by moving in together beforehand. But there's so many things to talk about. I think the biggest one is goals and meaning, because in a long-term monogamous relationship, you're going to continue to restructure your relationship, revamp your goals, and start over. But because people are changing. I mean, the person you marry is not going to be the person you're married to in 5 years. Literally, every cell in their body is a different cell. So you're going to have to constantly goal set together so that you can change together. And style of communication. Oh, yes. And also style of conflict. Do I believe in soulmates? I believe in many, many, many soulmates. There's no such thing as one person there. I think relationships are far more about skill than they are about luck. And that you can have a relationship with many, many, many people. Not everybody is for you, but there are many people for you if you learn how to be a good partner. I think that's the most important. I don't understand that question. What's the best to be attractive woman for my man? Everybody's different, right? If you watch Gilligan's Island, some people were Marianne and some people were Ginger. Is it true that couples who live together before marriage have a higher divorce rate? Yes, but let's talk about why that might be. People who cohabitate before marriage tend to have a higher divorce rate. Why? Because it is self-selected. Those people who just want to dip one toe in with cohabitation are the nervous ones. They may have attachment issues. They may have commitment issues. They may be fearing divorce because their parents got divorced. And so they're not really fully committed, right? And those people who are commitment oriented make a full commitment because they know they can do that. Hello to Costa Rica. Love Costa Rica. Which one am I? A Ginger or Marianne? I think I'm a bit of both, actually. I think I am. I will answer any questions. How do I look 25? You see, I'll tell you how. I have these two big box lightings. I am 60 years old, but when I was, I modeled in Paris when I was 18. I modeled in Toronto. I modeled in LA in my 20s. And I paid attention to lighting. I know about shadows and how they can take every line and make it stronger. So I have these two big box lights there, and that's why I blow it out. That's a good question. What's the best way to get a man to open up about his emotions to you honestly without fear? Okay, so here's the most important thing. In any relationship, you shouldn't be trying to get someone to do things. You shouldn't be trying to change somebody. You should be trying to have empathy for them and trying to understand them a little bit deeper. I think that you can't, if somebody's, model for love, their family of origin is such that they don't open up, the best you can do is model it for them, be authentic, vulnerable, open, model healthy feelings. And secondly, be a feeling detective. Maybe you can catch their feelings by looking at their body language or their tone of voice or what they do. Maybe it's you that needs to be a better reader of feelings. Okay, I want to remind you, I only do this live stream every Wednesday for 15 minutes, and then I go to my Patreon community. I am Dr. Wendy Walsh. I'm a psychology professor at Cal State Channel Islands, as well as the host of the Dr. Wendy Walsh Show on iHeart Radio. I do not have a license to practice psychotherapy. I am a psychology professor. I do read the research, and I'm happy to share the research with you. If you'd like to come over to my Patreon community, we do a private Zoom room every Wednesday night at 6:30, which is about 15 minutes from now. There's still time to come on over. The website is Patreon, patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. We have a great bunch over there. We love to see you. Anyway, I want to answer one more quickly. So Lily, I want to say this. Lily on YouTube says, how do you normalize sex? You don't have how to normalize sex? You don't have a sex life? I have to bond to enjoy. I'm deeply introverted. yeah, what are they called? There's actually a name for that, right? Where you have to have an emotional connection before you can have sex, which is a lot of people, by the way. I feel like I'm always working on myself, but only meet shallow, unavailable people. Lily, you would benefit very much from seeing a licensed clinical psychologist because they could help you get to the root of who these quote unquote unavailable people are or how you perceive them. Because I bet you should get some help. Anyway, I am heading over to Patreon now. I'm opening up my Zoom room in 15 minutes. Come and join me. I'm Dr. Wendy Walsh. I'm host of the Dr. Wendy Walsh Show on iHeart Radio, and I'm a psychology professor at Cal State Channel Islands. You are welcome to come over and join us at patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. Otherwise, I'll see you at 6 o'clock next Wednesday, right here. Maybe I'll do